I started off at the Antioch Missionary Baptist Church in Inglewood, and I directed the choir for something like 20 years almost.
Wow.
And was in the inspirational choir. And one Sunday, a couple came, and they wanted to know could they get somebody to do some demo work in Wilmette. So I went and did the demo work for them. I happened to be singing that Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And they asked me to come out, and they said they didn't have a lot to pay. So once I got to their home, they had a little makeshift studio, but they had a lot of contacts to a lot of people in theater.
Oh, okay.
And so when the people would come and they would hear my voice, they'd go like, who is that? Who's that? So I wound up...
Go on.
Excuse
I
me.
know, you're fine.
I wound up going ahead and talking to them, and from them I got convinced to do an audition at the Marriott, Lincolnshire, for The Wiz.
Oh,
And
wow.
I went and did The Wiz, and that was in 1986 or so.
Wow.
And I haven't stopped working since.
What was it like to work on with The Wiz?
It was great. It was like at the one that I did, T.C. Carson was in it. He played the Scarecrow, and it was just a lot of, it was new. It was a new experience. It was my first union card, but it was fun. It was,
That had to be awesome.
It was.
I produced a grade school production of The Wiz, and that's why I say it had to be awesome, because I even had fun doing it with the younger kids who I was teaching.
It's a very, very a great show for blacks and whites. It was a big controversy at the time that I was doing it, because at that particular time it was a big thing about interracial casting going on. So they had cast Dorothy as a white Dorothy, and the rest of us were intermingled, racially. And I remember the first day we opened, the next day the newspaper came out, and it was a big thing about me being black and Dorothy being white.
Oh.
Well, a lot of people think that this business is about their talent alone. It's not the case. There's not a person that's on that stage that's not replaceable. And that includes it. And it doesn't matter if you have a following. You see what happened to Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to get along with people and have a connection. There's nobody. I talk to that usher. I talk to, if it's a Mexican janitor walking through here, I talk to them. They know me. All of them know me, because I've been coming here for years. My first audition with here was in 1985. And this is a place that the people that they hire, they usually stay for long
periods.
30 years and stuff like that. It's a lesson in terms of being in theater is that you must understand that you can't let that stuff mess your head up. And that you got something to learn every time you go on a stage. And you have to have a commitment to something. There are a lot of people that just want to jump in and they don't want to pay their dues. There's a lot of things that happened for me that didn't just happen for me.
Right.
I earned them. Monopoly is the longest game in the world. You can play Monopoly for hours and hours and hours. But as long as your piece is on the board, you're in the game. So if you choose to pursue theater, you're going to come up against a lot of obstacles. And as long as you keep the piece on the board, you're going to be in the game.
Awesome.
But the minute you take your piece off the board, you're out the game.
Awesome.
So that's my advice, to keep your piece on the board.
Awesome.
I have to resurrect this question that I asked when I first met you. You've played all these dominant females, in theater. You've done Ma Rainey, you've done Effie, you've done Miss Sophia, and even Motormouth Maybelle. I know, but you could just talk to the viewers about, I guess your correlation as you as an individual to those type of characters.
Most of the time, if I play a role, they just putting another name on me. So for Sophia, I'm not kidding. If a man raised his hand, I'm gonna slap it.
Right.
If I really had a hard ball, he'd have been knocked out. I'm not like as much of a Ma Rainey. There are characters that demand that you have to pull from somewhere else. But there's always something you can pull from in your life that will keep you lined up with that character's, decisions and why they're that way. And you should always try to study some information about them, because like any one of us, we didn't just exist.
Right.
Our personalities didn't become personalities for no reason. There are things that cause us to be certain ways. You have a plan, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the plan for you, okay? And as soon as you find out, and it will come to you, that this is what I'm supposed to do, then you begin taking classes, you begin nurturing away from where you thought you were going into where you are planning to go. And you do that by getting any kind of resources. A lot of wisdom does not come from books. A lot of it comes from listening to other people. There's methods that go on. It's like if you got children and you say, Cheryl, don't touch the stove, it's hot. But Cheryl touches the stove anyway. Now you can learn that way, or you can learn by the wisdom of others and say, I don't have to go down that same road. But when people tell you this is what I need for this audition, and in the world that we live in now, when you have so much access to the internet, then you begin pulling that information up as soon as you can, and then you begin to be the aggressor for what you choose that you want, and you speak it to an existence, because words are powerful. And it's just like any job that if I wanted a job at that front desk, I would call and fill out the papers, but I would consistently come back to remind them it was me who did that. It's the same thing with theater, and a lot of people don't understand the work and the commitment it takes to do theater. You do 8 shows a week. You gotta have a discipline, and you have to be here at a certain time. You have to know your lines, and you have to figure out which way to memorize your lines. Different people memorize them different ways, So you have to learn to discipline yourself. That's about the biggest thing I can tell you. I've done theater, I've done on-camera work. Nothing is as hard as theater. Because I don't care how tired you are, you got to come up with a show. Because there's 800 people out there waiting.